All right, hey guys, Jason here. We're going to show you a tip today. I'm making arrows. See, I got stuff spread everywhere here. Tina's actually, she's gone. She's out of state right now helping Bella get them settled in, so I kind of got the run of the place. I've been working all day. See over there at a clock maybe if you can, but it's 2:30 in the morning. We're working. But anyway, we're making arrows, and I want to point something out to you about your feathers. So we're fletching them up and getting them ready. And there's a key thing that we got to understand. I chop my own feathers. Okay, these feathers that I'm using, I chop these out of full-length feathers. And if you're chopping your own feathers, a lot of times we'll try to get 2 out of 1 feather if we can. Sometimes it will let you, sometimes it will not. It is all based on the thickness of the quill, the base. Okay, this part down here, this white part that you're seeing on here, how thick that is what matters. And so sometimes we'll go, I could get 1 more out of that and be okay. And we like doing that because feathers are, I don't know, if we were to price feathers, I would probably put it in the category of stupid, crazy, astronomical. That's where I would put the price of feathers today. So we try to get more. So what you end up with often is you have some that are good and thick like this. See how nice and thick that is right there? Very nice. And, you can see that, but then we got some that are like this, which are very thin. Let me put them together here and show them to you side by side. Look at the difference there. Look at how thin one is and how thick the other is. That's the problem we run into. Now, what you do not want to do is mix this like in this kind of a combo right here. Hang on, they're bouncing around on me. Let me put them together one-handed. Okay, so what you do not want to do is have this setup where you have 2 good thick quills and 1 thin quill. Or base, I should say. Okay, we don't want that setup right there. Why do we not want that? What'll happen if we have this and we make 3 arrows this way? Okay, well, what's going to happen is if that 1 thinner based feather breaks free because it doesn't have the surface area. Surface area is important. I made a video about this 13 years ago, or a post about this in a video 13 years ago, and I remember I shared it on like the leather wall, and I had arrow makers get furious with me. It's like, oh my God, calm down, relax, because I made it about how to pick the best feathers for your hunting arrows, especially if you're doing a trip. It's important that your feathers stay on there, in my opinion. So I use for my hunting arrows the best feathers, and those best feathers are thicker bases like this, so we got big glue surfaces. By putting 3 together like this, where you have 2 that are a good glue surface, and you have that little skinny dude in there, that means that 1 skinny one is a failure point and that feather could come off. Instead, stack your feathers together where I have 3 good ones like this, and then these 3, these 3 can be a hunting arrow because they're 3 good feathers and they're going to work fantastic. So those are separated as a hunting arrow. These 3 here are put together because they are all thin quills. See how thin those are? They're still functional, they're still going to work, but they're much thinner. These are now a practice arrow. So those will be used on a practice arrow because they'll probably hold up all right, but if they do give out, if any one of these feathers is bad or too weak and it gives out, it's going to give out on that one whole arrow. If I were to put this one in with that arrow, and this one in with this arrow, and this one in on another arrow, and these 3 give out, they're going to take out 3 of my arrows. I have to refletch 3 of them. So I'd rather not do that. I'd rather put all the weak ones, as I'm calling them, thin-based weak quill, on 1 arrow rather than have it mixed in with all my good thick bases. So little tip for you when you're chopping your own. So I separate them out. This is 1 arrow right here. This is another arrow. I put them right by my jig where they're going to go. So that is there and set, and then this is here and set, and that's how we do it. Now also, I cut all 3 feathers at one time. See, so I don't leave, you can see all this junk on the end and how they're very pointy and that kind of thing. Obviously, I don't leave them that way. Look it. Okay, I don't do that. I cut mine off. Notice how they're all nice and even like that? I cut them together as a set of 3. So I will take all 3 of these feathers right here and tap them down and get that base set up real nice and tight. It's hard to do one-handed, but I'll get them all held together in line like this. Okay, and then I'm going to cut them somewhere about probably, let's just say like right, well, they're not together even anymore. Sorry, this is hard with one hand, but I will cut them together and I'll cut off 1/4 inch or so, almost 1/2 inch of that off like that with scissors. I'll go show you right now, as a matter of fact. So let me cut these, and I do it right over the garbage right here. So let me cut them. I'll be right back with you. Hold on. All right, we're going to stay here on the white for a second so I can show you. Now here we can see, actually it might even be worse on the white, but I'm going to zoom in tighter. All right, so now I cut all of them 2 lengths, so they are all matching, and you can see they got this little bit bigger of a lip. I like that better. I don't need that extra. But also, if you notice, if I zoom you in, look at how that front feather, I chamfered that with scissors. See how I put that little nick, that little cut right there, and got rid of that hard corner that would normally be there. Like if you look at the other side of that feather, see how it's got that hard corner? That hard corner of that quill is usually what scratches your finger up or cuts you. I get rid of it, and then look at it, gives me more surface area there to glue without a hard point that can come up. So I do that on every single one of them. When I do them, I take that little nip of that corner off on there, and this is how I set up all of my feathers. So what I do with every single one of them, and this is how it is. Now this is one whole arrow. This one whole arrow is dedicated to this one for my next shaft. And I will do that with the other one. But if we take one of these and look at it comparatively, here is the difference when we line them up at that edge, right at the edge of this crack. You can see what I've cut off of here. Hang on, sorry, trying. Feathers are moving around. And my dog's over there thumping away. There we go. But you can see right there. That's what I've cut off of them. I'd rather have this shape than this shape for me because it catches wind quicker and it's going to move more. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not, but I've been shooting feathers done like this for, I don't know, maybe 15 years. I like it better than this particular shape. And they work out perfect, as you see here on my arrows, like this. If I take it, here you go, you can see it good there. That is my setup and how I do them. These are cut high back. These are actually 3 3/4 inches high back. They start out as a 4-inch feather, and I cut about 1/4 inch off, and they're high back. Those are my dog's chewies because she's been doing pretty good today, so she's getting a lot of chewies. But there we go. That's kind of the little tip for you. Little setup difference, little bitty things that we do. Now the last tip I got for you, notice I have a alcohol station here. So what we do with this is very important. Is before I fletch these up, I'm going to take this, before I even wrap them, I wipe them with alcohol. Grab a piece of paper towel, wipe them with alcohol. Then, now, before I put this in that jig, I will take a piece of paper towel and I will wipe this wrap down with alcohol. And then, once I put these feathers in the actual clamp, where'd my other feather go? What do I got going on here? What is go? Oh, I got that one. It goes there. There we go. But I will take this feather when I put it inside of that clamp, and I'm going to take a little piece of paper towel like this, wet it with that stuff, and I'm going to actually rub it down that base of that feather and let that alcohol get any of my oils that are on my hand off of this so that I have no oils on the surface of this feather base or on this shaft wrap right here, so that it's purely alcohol cleaned, Then I glue it, and then I put it on here. Like I said, you can see the bits and pieces of stuff here. This is just the way I've been doing it for many years, and I'll tell you what, I can count on one hand how many times I ever had a feather fail. Now, I've broke feathers and had them come apart, but as far as a base failing and coming off, very, very rare. Even on thin ones like this, hold up pretty good. When I do have them fail, it's usually this type of an arrow. And what happens is the back end gives out. This whole back end from here back starts flopping on the back of the arrow because it's just not enough surface area for that to hold onto the shaft anymore. So, but like I said, I'm not giving up on these. Even if I get, put that on one arrow and use it as a practice arrow out here in the yard, and I can shoot it, 5 or 6 or 700 times, I'm happy with that. It gives me enough use out of it. So that's kind of how we do it. That's my setup here and what it is for arrows. I know it's getting very technical, and it seems like a lot of redundancy, but I like redundancy, and I like the setup, and I like giving it that extra. So maybe there's a tip in there that you can grab or something better for you. The mouse pad is because I use that to actually roll my wraps on. That's what I use to roll them on. But alcohol, very, very important. Not only for Saturday nights, but also for making sure your arrows are done well and taken care of. And those little attention to detail on your feathers, I think might help you out. They make a big difference for me. Questions, comments, anything you got, put them below. Thanks for watching.